The restaurant was dimly lit, the soft hum of chatter filling the air, and the clinking of glasses forming a quiet melody of luxury. At one corner table sat a man whose presence commanded attention, Charles Hensley, a billionaire investor known for his arrogance as much as his wealth. He was laughing boisterously with his guests when a young waitress, her hands trembling slightly, approached with a polite smile. Her name was Emma. Her eyes, though tired, carried a flicker of quiet determination. As she served his drink, she hesitated, then gathered courage to speak. "Sir," she said softly, "may I play a song for your table? Just for a tip?" His laughter grew louder. "A waitress wants to entertain us," he smirked. "Sure, go ahead. Let's see what you've got." Emma's heart raced as she retrieved a small, worn-out violin from behind the counter. It wasn't much to look at, scratched wood, strings a little loose, but it was all she had left from her late father. She had been a child prodigy once, destined for greatness, until tragedy struck and life forced her to trade concert halls for crowded diners. Now, with rent overdue and dreams buried under exhaustion, this was her last attempt to keep her spirit alive. As she positioned the violin under her chin, the laughter around her dimmed into expectant silence. Charles leaned back, amused, certain that what would follow was just another desperate performance from someone chasing tips. Then, she began to play. The first note cut through the air like a whisper of pain and beauty combined. Her bow glided across the strings with haunting precision, filling the restaurant with a melody that seemed to breathe. Every sound spoke of heartbreak, loss, and hope, emotions so real that even the waiters paused mid-step. Conversations halted. Charles's smirk faded, replaced by something he hadn't felt in years, awe. The music told a story words never could, rising and falling like waves of memory and longing. Emma's eyes closed, her body moving in rhythm with every note, as if the violin itself had become her soul speaking aloud. By the time she played the final note, the silence was absolute. Then came the applause, hesitant at first, then thunderous. Even the toughest critics in the room stood, their clapping echoing against the marble walls. Emma lowered her violin, tears slipping down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she had played not for money, but for meaning. Charles, visibly moved, reached for his wallet, but then stopped. He realized a few bills couldn't possibly measure what he had just witnessed. Instead, he stood and approached her. "Where did you learn to play like that?" he asked quietly. Emma smiled faintly. "My father taught me," she said. "He was my first audience, and my last before he passed away. I used to perform with orchestras. But after he died, I couldn't afford lessons, and life got in the way. Now, I just play when someone gives me a chance." Her words hung heavy in the air, soaked in truth and humility. Charles felt something stir inside him, guilt, perhaps, or recognition of a world he had long forgotten. He had spent years chasing profit and prestige, never realizing how much beauty existed outside his empire. "You shouldn't be waiting tables," he murmured. "You should be on a stage." But Emma shook her head. "Dreams don't pay bills, sir. Reality does." Her tone wasn't bitter, only honest. She gathered her violin, ready to return to her duties, but Charles stopped her. "What if I could help?" he asked. "What if I could give you that stage again?" Emma blinked, unsure if she had heard him right. Billionaires didn't just hand out opportunities, not without something in return. "Why would you do that for me?" she asked. He paused, looking genuinely thoughtful. "Because I laughed at you," he admitted. "And because sometimes, people like me need to be reminded what real talent, and real courage, looks like." Over the next few weeks, Charles kept his word. He introduced Emma to a friend who managed one of the city's most prestigious concert halls. Her first rehearsal there felt surreal. She stood on a gleaming stage, lights above, the same violin in her hands, but this time, her purpose had returned. When she played, it wasn't just music. It was redemption. Word of the Waitress Prodigy spread quickly, drawing journalists and musicians alike. Interviews followed, her story capturing hearts everywhere. From serving tables to selling out theaters, Emma's rise was nothing short of miraculous. Charles watched from the audience one night, the same amused smile now replaced by pride. He realized her success had done something profound for him too. For the first time in decades, he felt human again. Emma's music had broken through his walls, teaching him that compassion and talent were far more valuable than status or wealth. After the concert, he waited backstage, carrying a bouquet of white roses. "You've changed lives tonight," he said softly. Emma smiled. "Including yours," she teased. He chuckled. "Especially mine." Months later, Emma started a foundation for struggling young musicians, offering free lessons and instruments to children who couldn't afford them. She named it the Hensley Harmony Fund, in honor of the man who had believed in her when she had nothing left. During the opening ceremony, she performed her father's favorite piece, dedicating it to those who have been silenced by circumstance but never stopped dreaming. The crowd was moved to tears. Charles sat in the front row, wiping his eyes discreetly, knowing this moment was worth more than any investment he'd ever made. Years passed, and Emma's name became known around the world. She performed in Paris, Vienna, New York, her story of resilience and grace inspiring millions. Yet, she never forgot the night it all began, when a waitress asked to play for a tip and a billionaire laughed. That memory stayed with her, not as a reminder of humiliation, but as proof that courage can change fate. Her music carried that truth in every note, that beauty can rise from struggle, that kindness can bridge worlds, and that sometimes, even laughter can lead to redemption.